بمحمد وآل محمد صلوات. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ياسين والقرآن الحكيم إنك لمن المرسلين على صراط مستقيم تنزيل العزيز الرحيم لتنذر قوما ما أنذر آباؤهم فهم غافلون لقد حق القول على أكثرهم فهم لا يؤمنون إنا جعلنا في أعناقهم أغلالا فهي إلى الأذقان فهم مقمحون وجعلنا من بين أيديهم سدا ومن خلفهم سدا فأغشيناهم فهم لا يبصرون وسواء عليهم أنذرتهم أم لم تنذرهم لا يؤمنون إنما تنذر من اتبع الذكر وخشي الرحمن بالغيب فبشر بمغفرة وأجر كريم. إنا نحن نحيي الموتى ونكتب ما قدموا وآثارهم وكل شيء أحصيناه في إمام مبين. واضرب لهم مثلا أصحاب القرية إذ جاءها المرسلون إذ أرسلنا إليهم اثنين فكذبوهما فعززنا بثالث فقالوا إنا إليكم مرسلون قالوا ما أنتم إلا بشر مثلنا وما أنزل الرحمن من شيء أنتم إلا تكذبون قالوا ربنا يعلم إنا إليكم لمرسلون وما علينا إلا البلاغ المبين. قالوا إنا تطيرنا بكم لئن لم تنتهوا لنرجمنكم وليمسنكم منا عذاب عليم. قالوا طائركم معكم أئن ذكرتم بل أنتم قوم مسرفون. وجاء من أقصى المدينة رجل يسعى قال يا قوم اتبعوا المرسلين اتبعوا من لا يسألكم أجرا وهم مهتدون. وما لي لا أعبد الذي فطرني وإليه ترجعون أتخذ من دونه آلهة يردني الرحمن بضر لا تغني عني شفاعتهم شيئا ولا ينقذون. إني إذا لفي ضلال مبين. إني آمنت بربكم فاسمعون. قيل ادخل الجنة قال يا ليت قومي يعلمون بما غفر لي ربي وجعلني من المكرمين. وما أنزلنا على قومه من بعده من جند من السماء وما كنا منزلين إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم خامدون. يا حسرة على العباد ما يأتيهم من رسول إلا كانوا به يستهزئون ألم يروا كم أهلكنا قبلهم من القرون أنهم إليهم لا يرجعون وإن كل لما جميع لدينا محضرون. وآية لهم الأرض الميتة أحييناها وأخرجنا منها حبا فمنه يأكلون وجعلنا فيها جنات من نخيل وعناب وفجرنا فيها من العيون ليأكلوا من ثمره وما عملت أيديهم أفلا يشكرون. سبحان الذي خلق الأزواج كلها مما تنبت الأرض ومن أنفسهم ومما لا يعلمون. وآية لهم الليل نسلخ منه النهار فإذا هم مظلمون والشمس تجري لمستقر لها ذلك تقدير العزيز العليم. والقمر قدرناه منازل حتى عاد كالعرجون القديم لا الشمس ينبغي لها أن تدرك القمر ولا الليل سابق النهار وكل في فلك يسبحون. وآية لهم أنا حملنا ذرية في الفلك المشحون وخلقنا لهم من مثله ما يركبون وإن نشاء نغرقهم فلا صريخ لهم ولا هم ينقذون إلا رحمة منا ومتاعا إلى حين. وإذا قيل لهم اتقوا ما بين أيديكم وما خلفكم لعلكم ترحمون وما تأتيهم من آيات من آيات ربهم إلا كانوا عنها معرضين. وإذا قيل لهم أنفقوا مما رزقكم الله قال الذين كفروا وللذين آمنوا أن نطعم من لو يشاء الله أطعمه إن أنتم إلا في ضلال مبين. ويقولون متى هذا الوعد إن كنتم صادقين ما ينظرون إلا صيحة واحدة تأخذهم وهم يخصمون فلا يستطيعون توصية ولا إلى أهلهم يرجعون. ونفخ في الصور فإذا هم من الأجداث إلى ربهم ينسلون قالوا يا ويلنا من بأسنا من مرقدنا هذا ما وعد الرحمن وصدق المرسلون إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم جميع لدينا مهزرون. فاليوم لا تظلم نفس شيئا ولا تجزون إلا ما كنتم تعملون إن أصحاب الجنة اليوم في شغل فاكهون هم وأزواجهم في ظلال على الأرائك متكئون لهم فيها فاكهة ولهم ما يدعون سلام قول من رب رحيم وامتازوا اليوم أيها المجرمون ألم أهد إليكم يا بني آدم أن لا تعبدوا الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين وأن اعبدوني هذا صراط مستقيم ولقد أزل منكم جبلا كثيرا أفلم تكونوا تأكلون هذه جهنم التي كنتم توعدون اصلوها اليوم بما كنتم تكفرون اليوم نختم على أفواههم وتكلمنا أيديهم وتشهد أرجلهم بما كانوا يكسبون ولو نشاء لتمسنا على أعينهم فاستبقوا الصراط فأنى يبصرون ولو نشاء لمسخناهم على مكانة فما استطاعوا مزيا ولا يرجعون ومن نؤمره ننكسه في الخلق أفلا يأكلون وما علمناه الشعر وما ينبغي له إن هو إلا ذكر وقرآن مبين لينذر من كان حيا ويحق القول على الكافرين ولم يروا أنا خلقناه لهم مما عملت أيدينا أنعاما فهم لها مالكون وجعل وزللنا لهم فمنها ركوبهم ومنها يأكلون ولهم فيها منافع ومشارب أفلا يشكرون واتخذوا من دون الله آلهة لعلهم ينصرون لا يستطيعون نصرهم وهم لهم جند مهزرون فلا يحزنك قولهم إنا نعلم ما يسرون وما يعلنون أولم ير الإنسان أنا خلقناه من نطفة فإذا هو خصيم مبين وضرب لنا مثلا ونسي خلقه قال من يحيي العظام وهي رميم قل يحيي الذي أنشاها أول مرة وهو بكل خلق عليم خلق عليم الذي جعل لكم من الشجر الأخضر نارا فإذا أنتم منه توقدون أوليس الذي خلق السماوات والأرض بقادر على أن يخلق مثلهم بلى وهو الخلاق العليم إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون فسبحان الذي بيده ملكوت كل شيء وإليه ترجعون اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد سورة المباركة الفاتحة
صلوات على محمد وآل محمد. حسین الغریب الغریب الحسین حسین الشہید الشہید الحسین حسین الغریب الغریب الحسین حسین الشہید الشہید الحسین دہائی دہائی خدا را دہائی یہ دشت بلا میں ہے کیسی تباہی بہایا ہے کس نے یہ خون محمد قیامت یہ ڈھائی ہے کس نے الہی جوانوں بزرگوں کو مارا گیا ہے شہیدوں میں شامل ہے ننھا سپاہی حسین الغریب الغریب الحسین حسین الشہید الشہید الحسین کیا جشن برپائی اہل حوث نے شہیدوں کے لاشوں پہ ڈنکے بجائے جلا ڈالے آل محمد کے خیمے سکینہ کے منہ پر تماچے لگائے جو بیمار تھا اس کا بستر نہ چھوڑا نبی زادیوں پر بھی درے چلائے حسین الغریب الغریب الحسین حسین الشہید الشہید الحسین اٹھی اپنے مرقد سے بنت محمد سیاہ شب کی چادر میں چہرہ چھپا کر گئی کربلا میں تو اس نے یہ دیکھا ہے بوسیدہ کرتے میں ایک لاش بے سر بدن سارا تیروں سے چلنی پڑا ہے لہو میں ہے ڈوبا ہوا سارا پے کر حسین الغریب الغریب الحسین حسین الشہید الشہید الحسین تڑپ کر وہ چلائی شبیر بیٹا لہو میں نہائے حسر بھی جدا ہے تبر کس نے مارے ہے سارے بدن پر یہ تیروں پہ کس نے جنازہ رکھا ہے کہاں ہے میرا لال عباس بولو میں پوچھوں گی اس سے یہ کیسے ہوا ہے حسین الغریب الغریب الحسین حسین الشہید الشہید الحسین حسین الغریب الغریب الحسین حسین الشہید الشہید الحسین صلوات اللہ محمد وآل محمد.
محمد وآل محمد صلوات اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. زینب نے جو یہ پوچھا اس دشت میں کیا ہوگا سرور نے کہا بہنا سر تن سے جدا ہوگا زینب نے جو یہ پوچھا تو جائیں گی سروریا پھر شام تلک بہنا تو جائے گی سروریا پھر شام تلک بہنا نامحرموں کا مجمع سر تیرا کھلا ہوگا زینب نے جو یہ پوچھا ایک ظلم کی رسی میں بندھ جاؤ گے تم سارے ایک ظلم کی رسی میں بندھ جاؤ گے تم سارے اور تیغ یہ گلے اردن میں عابد کا گلا ہوگا زینب نے جو یہ پوچھا اس دشت میں کیا ہوگا سرور نے کہا بہنا اونٹوں پہ حرم ہوگے کوٹھوں پہ تماشائی اونٹوں پہ حرم ہوگے کوٹھوں پہ تماشائی بیمار میرا بیٹا محبوب سے بلا ہوگا زینب نے جو یہ پوچھا مر جائیں گے گٹ گٹ کے ایک روز سکینہ بھی مر جائے گی گٹ گٹ کے ایک روز سکینہ بھی سر باپ کا بیٹی کو پیغام قضا ہوگا زینب نے جو یہ پوچھا اس دشت میں کیا ہوگا سرور نے کہا بہنا سر تن سے جدا ہوگا محمد وآل محمد صلوات اللہم صلی علی محمد وآل محمد احساس رلاتا ہے زینب تیری غربت کا احساس رلاتا ہے زینب تیری غربت کا دم خوب برا بی بی بائی کی محبت کا بیٹوں کو فدا کر کے شکران بجا لائی بیٹوں کو فدا کر کے شکران بجا لائی چلتا ہے پتہ اس سے زینب تیری عظمت کا پامال ہوا لاشا فرزند پیمبر کا پامال ہوا لاشا فرزند پیمبر کا امت نے دیا شاید یہ اجر رسالت کا بھیجا تھا سکینہ نے پانی نہ چچا لائے بھیجا تھا سکینہ نے پانی نہ چچا لائے احساس نہیں باقی اب پیاس کی شدت کی جھولے سے گرے اصغر کوہرام ہے خیمے میں جھولے سے گرے اصغر کوہرام ہے خیمے میں بچے کو خیال آیا بابا کی رفاقت کا دفنا چکے اصغر کو اب کوئی نہیں باقی دفنا چکے اصغر کو اب کوئی نہیں باقی اندازہ کرے کوئی شبیر کی حالت کا جب سے گئے بابا ویران مدینہ ہے جب سے گئے بابا ویران مدینہ ہے بی بی ہے سہارا ایک نانا تیری تربت کا احساس رلاتا ہے زینب تیری غربت کا دم خوب برا بی بی بھائی تیری کا پر محمد وآل محمد صلوات اللہم صلی علی Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Let us all recite 5 times I am Wajibu for all those who are sick, for the safety of everybody, especially from the coronavirus and all other diseases, for the safety of the Muslims, for the safety of our holy places, and for all those in need of du'as. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء 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 اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Deceased of our community, and for those from amongst the followers of Ahlul Bayt who have no one to recite Al-Fatiha over them. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen ar-Rahman ar-Rahim Maliki Yawmiddin. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الذي دل على وجوب وجوده افتقار الممكنات وعلى قدرته وعلمه أحكام المصنوعات المتعاليا مشابهة الجسمانيات المنزه بجلال قدسه عن مناسبة الناقصات نحمده حمدا يملأ أقطار الأرض والسماوات ونشكره شكرا على نعمه المتظاهرات المتواترات والصلاة والسلام على صاحب الآيات أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين. أما بعد فقد قال الله في كتابه الكريم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا. We continue our series of lectures, which was supposed to take place in person, but due to concerns over public health, we had to arrange through a virtual platform. The first lecture of this series, of course, was on the day of the birth of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib. And the second lecture upon this night of the 15th of Rajab marks this lecture in the commemoration of the passing of Sayyida Zainab salamullahi alayha, an individual, a woman whose importance cannot go understated. That when you look from amongst her titles, you find the title Sharikatul Hussein, the one who was with her brother, the one who supported the message of her brother. When you look at her importance and her role, our scholars have given a famous example. And that example is if you imagine that one day a train is going down the tracks, and somebody had cut the tracks that it's going towards and it's about to fall. You have a person who stands in front of the train, and that person sacrifices himself for that train to stop, and there is a person who gives the message of why this person gave his life. His life wasn't given because he was there to do suicide or something negative, but rather it was a sacrifice. The ulama, they say this train which was derailing was Islam itself. The one who cut that pathway was Yazid. The one who sacrificed himself was Sayyid al-Shuhada. And that person who spread the message of why the Imam made this sacrifice was none other than Sayyida Zainab, a lady whose virtues, whose fada'il, can be spoken about at great length. That she was a woman who the fourth Imam would say, Anti bihamdillah, alimatun ghayru mu'allama. The Imam, he says that, oh, you, speaking to his aunt Sayyida Zainab, by the praises of Allah, you are that learned individual whom no one had taught you. You know, there are many secrets within this line, and there are many points and many questions that can be asked. First, one may ask the question is, what does it mean that nobody taught Sayyida Zainab? You find from one angle, knowledge is of two types. One is that knowledge you acquired through study, that knowledge through reading and listening and other meanings via the senses you acquire that knowledge. But another type of knowledge is a divine knowledge which God, he gives upon the hearts of his wali. He gives upon the hearts of the purified individuals. And you find the fact that Imam Zainul Abidin refers to Sayyida Zainab as having this type of knowledge where no one taught her, goes to show the spiritual status of Sayyida Zainab, and it goes to show her status as somebody who was considered an abidah, somebody who was considered a worshipper of God. You know, the traditions, they state that even upon the night of the 11th of Muharram, meaning the night after the day of Ashura, it's stated that Imam Zainul Abidin salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayh, he would see Sayyida Zainab not neglecting the night prayer upon that night, and she was praying as she would be sitting down. That if there was ever a time for a person to rest, if there was ever a time for a person to only focus on the wajibat after going through so much upon the day of Ashura, it would be that time. But you find despite all this, Sayyida Zainab, she kept this reality within herself of this connection with God. You know, this is why even upon her birth, you find that the traditions, they say that Jibreel would descend upon Rasulullah. And he would say to the Prophet that this one is somebody whose dignity should be kept, for she is like Khadija. That Lady Khadija was that one about whom the Quran praises when it says that we found you in need, وَوَجَدَكَ عَائِلًا فَأَغْنَى, and we made you self-sufficient, O Prophet of God. You find this Sayyida Zainab has been mentioned next to the likes of Lady Khadija. You find this Sayyida Zainab is the one whom our scholars say that the secrets of Imamat were put upon the shoulder of Sayyida Zainab. You know, there is a tradition which is recorded by Sayyid ibn Tawus, who was an early scholar, in his famous maqtal called Al-Luhuf. Al-Luhuf is considered one of our strongest maqatil, not only because of the early time period of Sayyid ibn Tawus, but also because of his style, that not only was he recording historical events, but he would also mention traditions. Within this Maqtal al-Luhuf, it stated that Imam al-Hussein would say towards Sayyida Zainab that I am giving some of these secrets which you should pass on to Imam Zainul Abidin. That these secrets of Imamat, they were passed on to Imam Zainul Abidin, but at one level through the intermediation of Sayyida Zainab. There's another tradition with Shaykh al-Suduq, another early scholar, in his famous book Kamaluddin. He narrates from a man by the name of Ahmad ibn Ibrahim that he says he asked Hakima, he asked Hakima, the daughter of Imam al-Jawad, that can a will be passed on through a woman? You find at that point, Lady Hakima, she would reply that didn't Sayyid al-Shuhada give his will to Sayyida Zainab? So you find that much could be said upon this night about Sayyida Zainab. But upon these nights, these are nights to reflect upon our relationship with Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. These are nights to question that how much do we know about them, how much do we know about the teachings of Islam. And that's why a topic which I wanted to analyze upon this night in a summarized fashion, not taking too much time, is to analyze that hadith which was narrated by the mother of Sayyida Zainab, known as Hadithul Kisa. You see, this hadith is one that many of us, we've been reciting since the time we are young, and we recite until an age of elderliness. This is a hadith which is recorded and it's recited at times of happiness, at times of sadness, during weddings, during funerals, during majalis, during wiladat days. You find times may change, but the recitation of this hadith is something which is common. So the question it comes up upon us is that what is the importance of this hadith? Why is it that when a member of Ahlul Bayt we commemorate their martyrdom, such as the passing of Sayyida Zainab? Why is it that upon these occasions we make a point to recite this hadith and keep reciting it at different times of our lives? What important points does this hadith contain? You know, Ayatollah Bahjat would say about this hadith, he would say, go and recite Hadithul Kisa and find the secrets within Hadithul Kisa. This is that hadith where there are so many things which are mentioned in there that were not mentioned beforehand. For example, the title of Imam al-Hussein being Shafi' Ummati. Ayatollah Bahjat says this was something which was not found explicitly until Hadithul Kisa. And he would say that even if we don't have a chain for Hadithul Kisa, it's important upon us to go and rationally understand the fact that this is a hadith of Ahlul Bayt. You know, oftentimes we get into a habit, whether it's Hadithul Kisa, whether it's Dua Kumail on Thursdays, whether it's Dua Tubassul on Tuesdays, we recite these different things and we recite these different supplications, but at the same time we don't understand what is going on within them. And this recitation, even at the outward, it has benefit, but the goal of a human being is to maximize his time, is to maximize his understanding. So the discussion about Hadithul Kisa, you find from one level is something which has been narrated by everyone, those within the school of Ahlul Bayt, those outside of the school of Ahlul Bayt. You find there are two forms of this hadith. One form is the general gathering which took place under the cloak. This version has been narrated by many different people to the point that it's reached the stage of tawatur, that stage where something has been recorded by so many different people and so many different generations that we don't have a doubt within it. For example, you find that Ibn Abbas, he narrates Hadithul Kisa in Hakim al-Nishapuri's Al-Mustadrak al-Sahihain. Further than that, you find that Aisha narrates this, you find Abu Sa'id al-Khudri narrates this, and you find it's narrated in different places. But the question and the version which I want to analyze upon this night of the memory of Sayyida Zainab, where we remember this great woman, is that version which you and I are accustomed to, that version that begins with An Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari. And based upon this version, there are many points which I'll examine. From the first level, I'll look at what does it mean to have a hadith. That what are the realities of the hadith of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. From the second angle, I'll mention some brief points about Jabir bin Abdullah since he's narrating this hadith. From the third level, I'll see what social benefits we can derive from Hadithul Kisa. From the fourth level, I'll examine why is it that when Ahlul Bayt were described, they were described through Sayyida Zahra. And number 5, I'll mention the benefits of reciting this hadith which are found within the hadith. And upon this night, we'll seek to facilitate our understanding of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam before I conclude with mentioning some of the virtues and masayib of Sayyida Zainab. So the first discussion comes up, since we are discussing a hadith. The question is that what constitutes a hadith? That we within the school of Ahlul Bayt theologically believe that there are 3 different things which are qualified as a hadith. Number 1, you find the qawl of the ma'soom. that the statements we have from the infallibles are hadith. Number two, the fi'l and the action of an infallible are considered a hadith. And number three, that even the silence of an infallible is considered a hadith. Because there will not be a time that where something haram is taking place in front of the imam, but the imam will remain silent about that. So in that way, that when you have these individuals, every aspect of their life is something from which we can derive lessons. And the beauty of this is that when it comes to a hadith, we are showing that when we take our religion, we have a source and a foundation. That many individuals, that when it came to taking the deen, they went towards different sources. Some people, for example, thought that they could solely rely on the intellect and rationale. Now, of course, the intellect and the rationale is an important source to reach God. It's been called the minor messenger, ar-rasul al-asghar. But you find that it is something which is not sufficient in and of itself, because the intellect needs a foundation also. So alongside with the intellect, you find the second source to reach God is through the text, and the text, I mean the Quran and the hadith which we have. And this hadith in particular is one which was narrated by Jabir bin Abdullah al-Ansari from Fatima al-Zahra. So the question comes up that Janab al-Zahra is a ma'soom. Who is Jabir bin Abdullah al-Ansari? You find Jabir bin Abdullah is an individual who is considered the first za'ir and visitor of Sayyid al-Shuhada. That when he goes to the grave of Imam al-Hussein, he says, As-salamu alayka ya khamis ashab al-kisa. That salam be upon you, the fifth member of the cloak and the final member of the kisa. You see, Jabir bin Abdullah al-Ansari was given this title and this honor of being the first Zayir and the visitor of Sayyid al-Shuhada. You know, our ulama and our scholars, they say that the fact that the first Zayir and visitor of Sayyid al-Shuhada was a companion of Rasulullah, this goes to show that there is no doubt in the fact of the permissibility of the ziyarah of Imam al-Hussein. Because after all, you find this is that reality. When people, they ask that where does a person take the sunnah from? You can take the sunnah from one of three sources. Either you take it from the wives, or you take it from the companions, or you take it from the Ahlul Bayt. Now, if you say that the sunnah, it comes from the wives, then there are incidents in history where Salma would tell another wife, when the dogs of Hawra begin to bark at you, turn around, for you know you are in the wrong. This incident, which referred to when another wife publicly went out in battle against Amir al-Mu'mineen, it goes to show that even the wives, they had disagreements. At the second level, if you say the sunnah, it comes from the companions, then there are battles when there were companions on one side and there were companions on the other side, that this goes to show disagreement. But there must be a group, that there is such uniformity between them, that looking at the first of them is like looking at the last of them. And looking at the last of them is like looking at the first of them. And besides the Ahlul Bayt, there was no group that such unison was there, that somebody could say, Awwaluna Muhammad, Akhiruna Muhammad, Awsatuna Muhammad, wa kulluna Muhammad. That the first of us is Muhammad, the last of us is Muhammad, in between we are Muhammad, all of us are Muhammad. So you find that because of this unanimity between Ahlul Bayt, the fact that these disagreements, they didn't occur within them, they are the proper source to take the teachings, and from amongst those sources which we can derive lessons is Hadithul Kisa. Now the first lesson we can take from Hadithul Kisa is that when this narration, it begins, it states that when Rasulullah enters, he says, Dakhala alayya abi Rasulillahi fi ba'd al-ayam. Janab al-Zahra, she records that after a part of the day, Rasulullah, he enters, and it says, Faqul, and he says what? He says, Faqala as-salamu alayki ya Fatima. فَقُلْتُ عَلَيْكَ السَّلَامُ. It's stated by this fa which signifies urgency over here, that as soon as the Prophet of God, he entered the house, he sent salams upon Sayyida Fatima Zahra. And as soon as Fatima Zahra, she heard the salam, she gave a reply. You find the first social etiquette that we can take from Hadithul Kisa, and this first lesson that we derive, is that the moment a person he enters his house, he sends salams. And the moment a person he hears salam, he replies towards this. This goes to show that by establishing this greeting, which is a greeting of sending peace, that I'll know on the outward you are just saying words. At the same level, this is a supplication to God, and this is a goal which you are establishing, a goal of unison and peace. So, for example, you find this from Hadithul Kisa. Another lesson you find from Hadithul Kisa is that when Imam Hassan, Imam Hussein, they enter the house, they gather underneath the cloak. Fatima Zahra addresses both of them in the same way when she says, Assalamu alayki ya qurrata aini wa tamarata fuadi. She says, Salam be upon you, the apples of my eyes and the fruit of my heart. In the same way that she addressed Imam Hassan, she addressed Imam al-Hussein, making no differentiation among them. This is another lesson that you derive. And in the same manner, you find that there are numerous things that we understand from Hadithul Kisa. That when we read the text of Hadithul Kisa, after that initial salam of Rasulullah and the reply of Fatima Zahra, you find that the Prophet, he says, قَالَ إِنِّي أَجِدُ فِي بَدَنِي ضُعْفًا فَقُلْتُ لَهُ أُعِيدُكَ بِاللَّهِ يَا أَبَتَاهُ مِنَ الضُّعْفِ فَقَالَ يَا فَاطِمَةُ إِيتِينِي بِالْكِسَاءِ الْيَمَانِ فَغَطِّينِي بِهِ فَأَتَيْتُهُ بِالْكِسَاءِ الْيَمَانِ فَغَطَّيْتُهُ بِهِ. That Rasulullah, he says that I feel weakness within my body. Go and bring me that cloak. Fatima Zahra, she says, may Allah prevent you from this. And she brings and she places that cloak upon Rasulullah. You see from this level that the Prophet of God, that when a person he feels sickness and a person he is ill, he goes and he seeks to find comfort, whether it's within his home, whether it's by resting, whether it's by taking medication which will alleviate him. But when the Prophet of God, he felt discomfort, he went to the house of Fatima Zahra, that house where Sayyida Zainab would be, that house where Imam al-Hussein would be. And Zahra, she goes and she brings the cloak upon Rasulullah. You know, this cloak, the question it comes up in this hadith, where Ayat al-Tathir was revealed, in this hadith where so much went on, where Ahlul Bayt, they gathered. Why is this hadith named after the cloak? You know, if there was a majlis and I was reciting, for example, you would say this is that majlis on that occasion, or this is the reciter, or this person recited the Noha. But you wouldn't just say this was a majlis with a microphone, because in comparison to the gathering, the object, it seems so mundane. But you find when Ahlul Bayt are described in Hadithul Kisa, they are described, this hadith is described via the cloak, that it is called the hadith of the cloak. So the question comes up is that what is the significance of this cloak? You find that this cloak, it can be viewed as a symbol. In the way that there were many things which were mentioned as a symbol in relation to Ahlul Bayt, you find the cloak, it occupies that same reality. For example, it would say, Inna matala ahli bayti fi ummati ka matali safinati nuhin. That indeed the example of my Ahlul Bayt from amongst the Ummah is like the example of the Ark of Nuh. That the one who boards will be saved, the one who turns away will be destroyed. Another tradition, it says the example of my Ahlul Bayt are like the Bab of Hitta. That when Banu Israel would enter, they were told to humble themselves at this door. It's stating that the one who humbles himself at the door of Ahlul Bayt, that person will be felicitous and successful. But in the same way, you find these objects which were considered symbols. The kisa in the cloak is considered a symbol as well. It's considered a symbol of the purity and the unity of Ahlul Bayt alayhimussalam. In the same way, it's a message that when one wants to unite themselves in the path of Ahlul Bayt, they follow that path of purity. So you find in this hadith that it is called Hadithul Kisa. And that point it comes where all of the members of Ahlul Bayt alayhimussalam, they gather underneath the cloak. You know, when they gather underneath the cloak, Jibreel, he says to Allah, Ya Rabbi wa man tahta al-kisa. That, oh my Lord, who is underneath the cloak? And Allah, he replies by saying, Fatimatu wa abuha wa ba'luha wa banuha. That it is Janab Zahra, and the father of Zahra, and the husband of Zahra, and the children of Zahra. You see, when Ahlul Bayt were described here, they were not described through Rasulullah, they were not described through Amir al-Mu'mineen, they were described through Fatimatul Zahra, that she was the center point over here. You know, the question comes up, why though? You find that the verse which was revealed was the verse of Tathir, that verse signifying the purity of Ahlul Bayt. From one angle, the fact that Rasulullah is a prophet is enough to prove his infallibility. The fact Amir al-Mu'mineen, Imam Hassan, Imam Hussein are Imams is enough to prove their infallibility. But that left Fatimatul Zahra, you find this verse, it comes down and Ahlul Bayt are described through Zahra. But from the second level, it goes to show that many people would discuss who is in Ahlul Bayt or who is outside of Ahlul Bayt. So God, he made Zahra the markaz and the center point. That if you want to understand if somebody is an Ahlul Bayt, see if they are mahram towards Zahra, they are part of Ahlul Bayt. If they are not mahram towards Zahra, they are not within the folds of Ahlul Bayt. You find this is that reality of Zahra found within Hadithul Kisa. And the power of this hadith is that when one recites this hadith, as it's stated towards the end of the narration, there is not a person except that his du'as will be accepted. There is not a person except difficulties and trials will be removed. And the malaika and the angels, they surround that person until the moment that the remembrance of this hadith is stopped. Now, I didn't come tonight for a lengthy discussion. I know the format of a virtual lecture is not the format which captures attention at the maximum level. Just these brief snippets were enough for this night on Hadithul Kisa in order that the next time that we read this hadith, we can read it with reflection, we can read it in a manner where we ask further questions about the benefits of this hadith. But tonight is that night where we remember Sayyida Zainab. You know, when you look at the name Zainab, you find in Arabic it comes from two words. It comes from Zina li'abi, that she is the beautification for her father. That for a father like Amir al-Mu'mineen, that this is that reality of Sayyida Zainab, and she is that lady who was called Aqilatu Bani Hashim, that she was called the one who has intellect from amongst Banu Hashim, that virtue after virtue. Whether it was the bravery of Sayyida Zainab, whether it was the spirituality of Sayyida Zainab, whether it was the intellectual prowess of Sayyida Zainab, you find time and time again we see her virtues to the extent that that famous khutbah of Fatimatul Zahra known as Khutbatul Fadak, that when you look at this khutbah, which it took 2.5 hours for Sayyida Zahra to give this sermon, when you look at the narrator of this sermon, you find it's none other than Sayyida Zainab. So from this angle, we begin to see that her importance can be seen in a number of different spheres. And amongst the most important of her contributions was her support of the message of Sayyidu Shuhada after the death of the Imam. You know, it's stated after the martyrdom of the Imam, some of the most difficult trials they began upon Sayyida Zainab. And amongst those trials was going into the court of Yazid. That courtyard where Imam Zainul Abidin would say, We sat like servants, and we sat in that spot where servants they would sit. It stated that Yazid, he would sit upon his throne. In his hand would be a stick. He would take that stick and he would poke the teeth of Sayyid al-Shuhada. You know, as he would do this, Sayyida Zainab would watch within that courtyard. And as she would watch, you find a point it would come up where she would give one of the most famous sermons in Islamic history. That she would tell Yazid, "Oh Yazid, you take your stick and you poke those lips where the Prophet of God would kiss." She would say, "Oh Yazid, do you suppose that your life being extended is good for you? But no, the Quran, it says that sometimes God, He extends the life of the tyrants in order that He can punish those individuals for their sins they will increase." And then she would say, "Ya Yazid, kad kaidak, was'a sayak, wa nasib juhdak." She would say, "Oh Yazid, plot your plots and make your effort and call your people who are with you. La tamhu dhikrana, you would not be able to erase our remembrance." You know, we see within the world today, tyrants have come, tyrants have gone. You look at an individual like Saddam, who was in Iraq, who he has come and gone. But despite all of these individuals, even within Syria today, that Syria where the court of Yazid was, that Syria where Sayyida Zainab would stand in front of Yazid, today no one knows where the palace of Yazid is. But when you enter the land of Damascus, it says, "Welcome to the city of Sayyida Zainab." This is that Zainab. And amongst one of the most difficult moments for Sayyida Zainab was that moment where she bid farewell to her brother for the final time. It stated upon the day of Ashura, when Imam al-Hussein, he was going towards the Maqtal for the final time, Sayyida Zainab would stop the horse of her brother and she would say, "Mahlan, mahlan, yabn al-Zahra." "Oh, slow down, O son of Fatima." She would come, she would kiss the neck of her brother. She would say, "Oh, my brother, that when my mother Fatima was passing away, she made one wasiyah towards me. She said, upon the day of Ashura, kiss the neck of Hussein. For it is that neck of Sayyid al-Shuhada which would be cut upon the day of Ashura." You know, it stated that as Shimar would go towards the body of Imam al-Hussein, Sayyida Zainab, she would come out from the tent. When she would come out from the tent, Imam al-Hussein would say, "Ya Zainab, irja'i al-fustat," go back in towards the tent, O Zainab. But despite this fact, you find that moment it came that Sayyida Zainab, she heard, she would see her brother surrounded from all sides. She would see the body of her brother, and she would say, "Anta akhi," that are you, my brother Hussein, ala la'natullah ala qawm al-dhalimeen, upon this night. We pray for the followers of Ahlul Bayt wherever they are in difficulty. We pray that Allah allows us to walk in the footsteps of Sayyida Zainab, to receive the intercession of Sayyida Zainab. We pray for the safety of humanity for all those who are afflicted by this illness, which has become a global issue. And we pray for the hastening of the reappearance of the Master of our time. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم اللهم صل على محمد وآله.
Ya Hussein, 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 Ya Hussein. ऐ शाम के लोगों, मैं बिनते अली हूँ. ऐ शाम के लोगों, मैं बिनते अली हूँ. मैं वारिस तत्हीर हूँ. میں وارث تطہیر ہوں، ناموس نبی ہوں، اے شام کے لوگو میں بنت علی ہوں، اے شام کے لوگو میں بنت علی ہوں، بازار سے دربار میں لے آئے ہو مجھ کو، چاہوں تو چلا سکتی ہوں خطبوں سے میں تم کو، صابر کی بہن ہوں جو میں، صابر کی بہن ہوں جو میں خاموش رہی ہوں، اے شام کے لوگو میں بنت علی ہوں، شام کے لوگو میں بنت علی ہوں، تم اپنے پیمبر کو اگر دیکھنا چاہو، نیزے پہ جو یہ سر ہے اسے غور سے دیکھو، ہم شکل پیمبر ہے یہ، ہم شکل پیمبر ہے یہ، میں اس کی پھوپھی ہوں، اے شام کے لوگو میں بنت علی ہوں، اے شام کے لوگو بنت علی ہوں، اور اس سے کٹن وقت کیا ہوگا میرے معبود، فضا کے طرف دار ہے دربار میں موجود، میں پشت پہ فضا کے کھڑی، میں پشت پہ فضا کے کھڑی اور دیکھ رہی ہوں، اے شام کے لوگو میں بنت علی ہوں، اے شام کے لوگو علی ہوں، زہرا کو بھی دربار میں تم نے تھا بلایا، زہرا کو بھی دربار میں تم نے تھا بلایا، دربار میں بھی میں ہوں مگر فرق ہے اتنا، پردے میں وہ تھی اور میں بے پردہ کھڑی ہوں، اے شام کے لوگو میں بنت علی ہوں، اے شام کے لوگو میں بنت علی ہوں، زنجیروں میں جکڑا کا جو بیمار کھڑا ہے، زنجیروں میں جکڑا جو یہ بیمار کھڑا ہے، سجدائی سے کعبے کی فصیلوں نے کیا ہے، منصب میں بڑا ہوں میں، منصب میں بڑا وہ ہے میں، رشتے میں بڑی ہوں، اے شام کے لوگو میں بنت علی ہوں، اے شام کے لوگو میں بنت علی ہوں، ہونے لگے دربار میں نشتر کے اذانے، ہونے لگے دربار میں نشتر کے اذانے، ریحان ادھر نام نبی گونجا فضا میں، بی بی نے کہا فخر سے، بی بی نے کہا فخر سے، میں جیت گئی ہوں، اے شام کے لوگو میں بنت علی ہوں، اے شام کے لوگو میں بنت علی ہوں، میں وارث تطہیر ہوں، میں وارث تطہیر ہوں، ناموں سے نبی ہوں، اے شام کے لوگوں میں بنت علی ہوں، میں بنت علی ہوں، حسین شہید کربلا وویلا، حسین شہید کربلا وویلا، حسین امام مظلوم وویلا، حسین شہید کربلا وویلا، حسین قتیل الاشقیاء وویلا، حسین شہید کربلا وویلا، حسین امام شہید وویلا، حسین شہید کربلا وویلا. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وأينا حتى تسكنه أرزك توءا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. السلام عليك يا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك، عليكم مني جميعا سلام الله أبدا ما بكيت وبكي الليل والنهار، ولا جعل الله آخر الأحد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا مولاي يا غريب الغرباء السلطان أبا الحسن مولانا علي بن موسى الرضا، وشفيعنا وشفيع والدينا في يوم الجزاء ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا مولاي يا صاحب العصر والزمان، الأمان الأمان الأمان. السلام عليك يا خليفة الرحمن، السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن، السلام عليك يا كعبة الإيمان، السلام عليك يا إمام الإنس والجان. أجل الله لك ما وعدك من النصر والزهور الأمن ورحمة الله وبركاته. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.